For those people who are not here live, I got to hit record. Hello, you incredible human being. I'm so excited about this group already. It is so fierce. It is so magical. We are going to have the most amazing year, and it's just the truth. So if you notice that your microphone is on, turn it off, because what we're going to do today is we're going to start to talk. And I told you, I promised you that we would get to connect and to get to know each other, and I would be here to do some high-level, high achiever coaching with you, get you out of whatever is keeping you feeling like you're being held back, and to get you to start realizing all the resourcefulness that you have at your fingertips. And then, of course, I will give you my best strategy to helping you tease out whatever it is that you want to accomplish. I'm so excited. So we are not going to get to everybody on every call, but what we're going to do is we're going to get to a good chunk of people every time we talk, which will allow me to get to know you. And don't you worry, I'm going to get to know each one of you, because that is how I roll. And there'll be plenty of time, because this is not the only time that I'm going to be hanging out with you. This is going to be a routine thing. So we'll talk to some people today. What we'll also do today is, there'll be a chance for you guys to introduce yourself a little, and you will ask some questions, and you'll tell me what you're struggling with and what you're really excited about. And then you will hear me and watch me sort of doing this little intimate coaching and conversing, which will really be something that will be of value. I'll tell you why. Not only because many of us often share the same questions, but because when I answer the questions, I will be thinking about you and thinking about how I can relate whatever the person is discussing to everybody else's struggle. And so I think it'll be really cool and fun and all that jazz. So what else did I want to tell you? I also want to tell you that today we will be going over what the plan is for this amazing year. And I will be letting you know how that's going to pan out. So I'll give you sort of the what to expect. I know that when you joined this group, let's sort of go over what's already happened. You guys enrolled. That took a tremendous amount of courage, and that took a tremendous amount of trust in listening to your gut. And I'm really proud of you. And I think that those of you who were here for the first session last week with Brittany White or watched the replay probably had a huge sense of relief, like, I am in the right place. True or false? Give me a thumbs up if that was true. Yes, I love it. So we are the real deal. I think that people, I don't blame human beings, because all of us before the age of about 5 or 6 years old have gotten our heart broken many, many times. There's a lot of disappointing things that happen. A lot of people don't live up to who they say they're going to be. And so I think it's really very common that people might expect that somebody is saying something that might actually be what they're going to deliver on. But you guys have already seen the magic of this program. And why do I love this program so much is because when you saw, if you watched the replay, and those of you who didn't, Brittany White was here. She is one of the, I would say, top 3 music supervisors in the entire world, because she's been working at Chop Shop for years, working on shows like Grey's Anatomy and Scandal, all the Shonda Rhimes shows, as well as the Twilight Saga and many other things. Chop Shop actually went on to start their own label, which is an imprint of a much bigger label. And they discovered lots of people that we all love and put them on the map, like Ingrid Michaelson and lots of the other people who you listen to on Grey's Anatomy, who then all of a sudden started to have a career just being an indie artist. So she was here. Now, what was so great about that session wasn't just that she was here. That's nice, right? It shows you, I think Cathy does have some good relationships, and we're going to have access to those. So that's good. And you will. And that is going to be a big piece of this. It's not like one and done. You're going to be meeting supervisors every single month. So that's exciting. But the thing that was also, I think, the thing to focus on about that session is that when the songs were played, she was pleasantly surprised over and over again, until she wound up saying, I want every single one of those songs. Please send it over to me ASAP. So we then offered our students to sign this is how easy we go. This is how easygoing we are about this. And believe me, so many of the business colleagues have said to me, how do you do that? Why do you do that? That's not good business. You should be taking publishing. You should do this. And I'm like, I hear all your grouchy comments. I'm an artist, and this is not what I'm in it for, so that's not the way we roll. Also, we don't sign exclusively, because what do I want? I want you to succeed. I want you to have as many possible soldiers out there flying your flag as possible, and I'm going to teach you how to do that And we want to be an added resource. In fact, this year, I've already started talking to some of my licensing agent friends and saying, can we make an agreement that if you work with one of my students, please don't ask them to sign it with you exclusively. Let's help each other and help them. Let's give them more opportunities, because in the end, it helps the licensing agent. Because if the licensing agent signs you exclusively and then you start to get pretty pissed off after 10 months because your stuff is sitting there and you don't have the option to put it anywhere else, I don't think that means that you want to stick around. But if it takes the pressure off of them and then we can all work together to help you, I don't see why that's a bad thing. And that's what we're going to start to create in any case. So we then talked to those 5 awesome students who played songs for Brittany and said, do you want us to pitch these songs to her? We can send you a single song agreement for the song. We do not take publishing. We do not take back end. What basically happens is they could say yes or no. Now, here is the thing I want you to know. There are many times where supervisors will come on and they'll say, hi, my name is Lindsay Klowitz and I work at Disney Soundtracks and here's my email address and you guys can email me. And that's going to happen. And I love when that happens, because then you can actually go directly to those people. Sometimes the supervisor's like, you know what? I've got so much going on and I really, really want to be buttoned up about all the paperwork, and I would prefer that you email me through the agent. And then we offer that service. So how cool is that? But in addition, if I was sitting where you are and 3 weeks went by or 6 days went by or 14 weeks went by, and I had a song that I really wanted to get to Brittany White, I might be resourceful and I might email her myself. And I might say, hey, Brittany White, I heard you in that amazing session with Catch the Moon, and you were so kind and generous and smart and inspired me. And I love that thing you said about blah, 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 blah. And I think this song actually works for you. Now, here's the key. Only send her a song when you really, really believe it's something she needs, because those first impressions are really hard to take back. But here's what I wanted to focus on. Those 5 songs that you heard were born through the process of being in this class. And it makes me really proud that what we're doing here is effective, because I've been sitting doing this for a long time. And you know how like the longer you do something, the more you really understand the process? Like I had this guy named Greg Mandel on my podcast, and he has one of the most, sort of talked about bakeries in San Francisco. And he has like 20 employees, and he has this beautiful, it's called Neighbor Bakehouse. And he's worked for some of the finest chefs in the world. And he said, Cathy, it wasn't until I made 10,000 croissants that I knew how the heck you make a croissant. It wasn't until I really, really did it for a long time that I started to go, oh, this is how you get the dough to be like that. And this is how you get it to feel and to crunch this way and to taste this way. You hear what I'm saying? So there is an understanding and there's a respect for the craft that you only start to understand the longer you're doing it. And what's going to happen to you guys is you're going to be watching a commercial or you're going to be watching a show, and everyone else is going to be like waiting to see what's happening. And you're going to be listening to the music, and you're going to start to listen differently, and you're going to start to appreciate it differently, because you're going to start to have more of an understanding of the mechanics behind how this scene fits with this picture and how this music helps tell this story. You're probably already starting to think like that a little bit, right? Since we started talking for the last week or so. So what I love is seeing that we do 2 things in this program. In this program, we are helping you connect with people and having opportunities to pitch your music, but that's 1/2. And another equal half is the instruction to help you work on your craft and to get those songs to a place where you're going to feel really confident and trust that because of Cathy's direction and because of this program, when I do finally have that once-in-a-lifetime moment to play the song for the person who could change my career, the song is going to be something that's like, of course I want this song. Obvious, right? So I wanted you guys to see what has happened as a result of being in this program. And the thing I want to highlight here is that a lot of people have been saying, I don't feel ready. Those songs were amazing. Joe's song, Alex's song, all these people, their songs were amazing. Here's the dealie, okay? When everybody started this program, they were exactly where you are. I feel so lucky. I think that my grandma used to say, water seeks its own level. And I don't know exactly what that means, but I kind of do. And I think it means that you attract what you are, and water seeks its own level. And I think that's what it means. I can't ask her because she is up in heaven somewhere, but I think, Grandma, that's what you meant. I feel so grateful that the people who wind up in this program, somehow, some way, the stars align, and that is what we all have in common. There is something inside that we all share. There is a kindness, a generosity of spirit, and a commitment to wanting to be our best selves. And I think that that's what happens when people meet me in a 5-day challenge or on a webinar. They go, oh, she's not just some girl. She's that person. I'm that person. So I see you and you see me, and then we connect. So that's what everybody has when they start this program. What I can guarantee you is that those songs that we played for Brittany White, those were not the songs that those people came into this program with. Those people came to this program with a tremendous amount of grit and hustle and talent. So wherever you are is perfectly fine, because the other piece that I don't even talk, there's so much in this program that I don't even get to talk about all of it. But another piece that is going to happen for you that you're going to say, God, that was worth every penny. You're going to start to collaborate with people in this group. So those of you who've had all these song ideas and never really been able to produce as prodigiously, as proficiently as you wanted to, you're going to start to see that change. Something else that we're going to do is we are going to introduce you guys to the senior graduating class, because there's so many people in there who now can work with you and collaborate with you. And in every single program, there's usually 20% of people who get really excited and really, really motivated. And I think that those people are always looking now for like more and more people who are that excited and energized to collaborate with. So would you guys like to connect with those people? Great. So we're going to do that. And then you're going to help each other, because you're bringing this new, thirsty, like yummy, like energy. And they have been here for 6, 9, or 12 months. And they're going to be able to say like, cool, so we can do that even faster. You know, that idea is perfect. Let's just do this with the chorus. And then that's going to help us get to where you want to go faster, because I've been studying this for a little while and I can get us there. I hope that you guys also noticed that the songs that were played were really cool songs. I think that there's a lot of misconceptions about what music gets licensed and what kind of music is that, and what do I want to write. And a lot of people have so much stuff in their way where they're like, I would never write a song for licensing because I am an artiste and I have to do art. And then they listen to the songs that actually get chosen and they go, damn, that's a cool song, right? God, that's a good vibe. Because these people who are paying you money for songs, they're not crazy. Like, they're only going to pay you this kind of money because the music is that good. So I want to reassure you that you're in the right place. You don't have to have already recorded 15 songs. You're going to get to work on those songs here. And the way that it's going to work is this. I'm going to now tell you really quickly what the program looks like so you can know what to expect. And then we're going to start to talk to some of you and have some conversations and do some coaching. So as we go through the next several months, and I'm just going to take out my notes so I can read you the syllabus so I don't miss anything. Let me just grab it. 1 second. So as we go through the notes, let me just grab it. Here it is. Okay, here it is. So let's go over what you're going to expect. Okay. So one thing that we're hoping to accomplish is that over the next 6 months, which is the first half of the year, we're hoping to do 2 things. One thing that we're hoping to do is to get you to a place where you are really proud of an EP in 6 months. So what would be really lovely is at the end of 6 months, if you had 5 songs that you were really proud of, that you felt worked well in order to be submitted and pitched to people like Brittany White and ads and TV shows of all kinds. In order for us to facilitate that, we are going to be giving you assignments every single month. So the first 6 months is going to be twofold. You're going to get assignments and you're going to get feedback. And I'm going to give you more specifics as we keep talking about this. In addition to that, you're going to continue to have opportunities to meet music supervisors. So I know that it feels a little bit overwhelming because while we're teaching you, you're sort of building the engine while flying the plane. Here we are teaching you how to do something, and then Phil Jackson's coming on the court and you're like, I'm learning how to do a layup. Like, what the heck is happening? I don't want you to be overwhelmed by that. I want you to see it as inspiration. I want you to feel like Phil Jackson's here. That's cool. I'm still working on my free throw and it's all good, because what this just reminds me is Phil Jackson is here. I have an inroad to him. So those first 6 months, instead of feeling like, oh my God, a supervisor's coming, I don't know what I'm doing, blah, 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 I want you to feel more like, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm in the beginning stages of this, but I feel certain as a songwriter and as a person who's been doing this for so long, that 100% of what makes us create the things that we're born to create is having the awareness of how possible it is for our dreams to come true. When we know that things are possible, we spring into action. So while you're building the engine and flying the plane and working on those free throws, and while that's happening, I want you to be seeing this possibility and knowing these are the things that are here. These are the things that are going to be available. So does that make sense? So you're going to be getting an assignment, you're going to be getting feedback, and then you're going to continue to have these kind of informative sessions with these incredible people. In addition to music supervisors, we're going to bring on other interesting experts. We'll probably bring on a person who's a producer, like a great producer, who's produced Ingrid Michaelson and Christina Perri and people that you love, legit, like up to date, not like did a Ingrid Michaelson track like in 2001. Like I'm talking like real today, because that will be helpful to hear sort of what their insight is on what to do in the studio to get the best sound and to really get to where you want to go in an authentic way. In addition to those kind of people, we'll also bring on other licensing agents so that, again, you know there's possibility, other people you can reach out to. We will also bring on an attorney, a music lawyer, because I cannot give you legal advice. I'm not an attorney. That's ridiculous. Why would you want to listen to me giving you legal advice? I can definitely give you like ideas and strategies of split sheets and things like that. I can definitely tell you things that have worked for me, but it's so cool to have somebody who is a music lawyer, an indie music lawyer, who can say, here's something you could think about. So we'll do that. So you'll have these expert sessions. In addition to that, once a week, Sonnet, who you guys saw talking to Brittany, and those of you who watched that 5-day challenge, I know there was a lot in there, but Sonnet was with me on day 3 of that challenge. Sonnet has been with me for 3.5 years, and she is day-to-day pitching music and having conversations and meetings with soups. She's gonna come on once a week, and she's gonna give you a piece of curriculum and then a time for Q&A. So she's going to come on and say, today we're going to talk about lyrics. Today we're going to talk about how do you get to that hook. Today we're going to look at a bunch of songs that have worked and why they worked. So she's going to be teaching you and also giving you time for Q&A, in addition to everything else that I'm talking about, okay? Now, let me just read you these notes so that we go over other pieces of this. So you're going to learn about licensing in depth, both how to write the songs and manage the admin business side. You're going to create hopefully a 5-song EP. We're going to give you 2 real world searches that we've received in the past to help give you a sense of what type of theme to choose each month for those 5 songs on that EP. So month after month, and this is in addition to other opportunities we're going to give you, but one thing we're going to do is give you an assignment. We're going to say, here are 2 things that have come in the past, and we get these 2 kind of requests a lot. This reference track comes up a lot, Portugal the Man, maybe it is. Maybe it's a song about home. Maybe it's a song about this with this kind of a Tim Myers request. We're going to give you 2 every month and say, these have come up many times in the past. Choose one and write a song that's your version. Pick a theme and write your song that's based on this theme and that based on this reference and inspired by. That'll hopefully then lead you to that 1 song each month that winds up on the EP. Those songs you will get written feedback on, okay? You following me so far? There's a lot offered here. So you don't even have to remember all this, because we're just gonna continue to put you in this process, and eventually you're gonna get it and it's gonna not be so overwhelming, but I'm just sort of laying it out for you. So you're going to get written feedback on that song that you create once a month for your EP, okay? In addition, like I said, you'll have live video sessions with music supervisors to help connect and inspire your writing and give you some more direction. Now, in addition to you writing a song and getting feedback, once a month, you're also going to get a chance to pitch a song. We're going to give you something live. We're going to say, we have a project that we're working on and we need a song like this, send it in. Okay, that's going to happen once a month. Now, that's going to start to happen 3 times a month in the second half of this year. We don't want to overwhelm you. See, here's what could happen really quickly. If we start to give you 3 live searches a month right now, plus the assignment, you might start to feel like, hang on a second, I don't know enough to be ready, and now I'm feeling really overwhelmed, and maybe I'm not in the right place. But if I can give you 1 search a month to be like shooting for, and something great, something like that's a decent chunk of money, something that's worth the time, it doesn't matter. You won't feel as overwhelmed. And by the way, I'm telling you now that these are going to keep coming, and they're going to come more fast and more furious as the program goes on. So it's okay. Like if you don't get every single one, or you don't get to turn something in, there's going to be much more room for that. Am I making sense? Okay. So there's also going to be that. In addition, I'm going to come on and I'm going to be doing a master class with you. And this usually happens like, you're going to see, like, as you've already seen, I come in the chat and I sort of respond as often as I can, but you know that we're going to always have a monthly, like 2-hour epic masterclass, just me and you and nobody else. Okay. In addition to that, we're also going to start to give you some creative, inspiring assignments. And I'll go over what this one is for this month. Sometimes I'll tell you, well, I'll tell you at the end of the month what that's I'll tell you at the end of the class what your assignment is, but it's basically just gonna be things that help you feed your creative muscle and help you start to get in the flow and out of your head. And we'll be telling you guys to write about those and to share those with the group as you do those assignments, because you're gonna enjoy doing it. I'll tell you a little bit more about that today. Now, once we reach the 6-month part, you're going to start pitching actively those songs that you've been creating in the first 6 months. But by the way, let me just make something super clear. When we give you an opportunity to pitch something, you can pitch anything. You can pitch a song you wrote 15 months ago, 4 years ago. You don't have to pitch what you're writing in the class. We can just tell you that the thing that we've seen is that results typically tend to work out when people are writing this stuff with this kind of direction. But you are more than welcome to pitch anything. You don't have to exclusively pitch songs from this class. Does that make sense? Okay. So come the second half of the class, you're going to be able to pitch the songs you wrote. You can pitch other songs. You're going to hopefully write even more than 5 songs in the first 6 months. That would be great. But if you write 5, fine. And those of you who are saying, how will I get 5 songs written and recorded in 5 months? That's also okay. There's no obligation. We're not going to look down on you. There's no grades being given. You can do this at your own pace. This class was designed for busy people. We're going to set the bar high to help you sort of get the most out of yourself possible. And you're going to notice that when you're energized and you're hopeful and you're surrounded by people who lift you up, you're probably going to get more done than you ever have in your life, especially when it comes to your artistry. But it's okay if you're like, I only wrote 3 songs or 2. That's also okay. Like, you need to just be in sort of competition with the best of you. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. Just stay focused on you and do your personal best. That is the bottom line. So in the second half of the year, you're going to get the same stuff, but more of it. So you're going to get those songwriting assignments based on current needs and trends. You're going to be able to submit, and then you're going to get more pitching opportunities every single month. You're still going to have those master classes with me. You're still going to have those weekly curriculum sessions with Sonnet plus Q&A. And you're going to just have more songs at that point, and you're going to be more ready to pitch. And then, of course, throughout all of this, we are talking about, you know, you meeting all of these people in these sessions, which will be helpful and inspiring. So is it clear what I'm saying? We are going to keep talking about this so that it is clear. But one thing that I will encourage you to do to get the most out of it, I will encourage you to, if you have a question, know that that's why there's office hours every single week, because we want you to feel heard. So I don't want you to be like tagging someone in the group and you don't hear back for 45 minutes or 6 hours and you're like, oh my God, what the heck, no one's listening. We created office hours so that all of those questions get answered. So if you don't get heard, instead of feeling like you're invisible, you're gonna get a chance to post your question. And those of you who can't be here live, your questions will still get answered. The way that we do it is we'll say, Sonnet will be here on Wednesday, or Cathy will be here on Monday. If you have a question, you can post it in the comments to this post. And then if you can't be there live, you can say, hey, Sonnet, I was wondering about this or that, or blah, 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 blah. And she will respond to those questions, and then you can watch in the replay. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's how we're sort of gonna roll this out. And I know that there's like, oh my God, that's so much, but it's better to have a ton of stuff that we're giving you than less, right? We want to give you as much as we can. And that's why I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Instead of you feeling like, oh my God, how am I going to keep up? There's nobody looking and going, okay, let's look at the list. He hasn't submitted a song. Okay, let's push him in this pile. Like, there's none of that. Like, we understand that people are going to do as much as they can. I tend to have a lot of energy, so I just want to give you as much as I can. And I figure you're in this program with me for 12 months. Like, I'm going to give you as many resources as possible. I'm going to give you live sessions. I'm going to give you feedback. You're going to get assignments. I'm going to introduce you to everybody I know. And you're going to walk away and go, if you can get the most out of 10% of that, that's a tremendous amount. So good for you, right? Okay, so what I want to tell you really quickly is that your assignment is going to be posted in the group soon. If you haven't already seen it, it'll be posted soon. And yes, Michael just said, can we submit songs using singers who aren't on the course? Yes, absolutely. You can do whatever the heck you want. You're just going to find that the quality of your final song, it's on a different level when you're co-writing and producing with people who, first of all, are high achievers, right? They're not sleeping until noon going, oh, my artist, oh God. Like, you're just gonna feel energized by working together. And you're gonna notice that it just goes a further way because everybody's been listening and everybody's been bringing then what they're getting from the program to the craft. And so you get more out of the time. Okay, so what I want to do now, since it's already 11:57 and we just went over what I wanted to do, which gives you an overview of the class, I'm going to look really quickly at these questions, and then I want to start to hear from some of you. So let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, if you want to chat with me today, then there's a little button. If you look at your screen, like where your little face is showing up, and you click on it says like 3 dots, you might be able to find something that says raise hand. Do you guys see that? Do you see how you can raise your hand or no? No? See, it's not on my thing because I'm the one running the meeting, but there's a way to raise your hand. Who can find it? It's here. How do we find the raise your hand? How do we find it? It's here. People do this all the time in my classes. Who found it?
I just pushed unmute, but.
Oh, wait. Phil and Angela, you just raised your hand. Tell us how you did that.
Okay.
We just did what you said, the 3 dots. It says more on the bottom right. We're on an
Look
iPhone.
at that.
Yeah,
And then
so
there's
you're
a
right.
thing that comes up. One of the options says raise hand.
Phew. First lesson out the gate. Kath, what the hell? No, I was right. Okay, good. So, okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Don't unmute yourself, everybody, because that'll just cause crazy sound. We won't want to hear anyone. So I'm gonna mute everyone again. But what I am gonna do is we'll start with Phil and Angela, since you raised your hand first, and then educated all of us on the fact that I was correct on doing that. I'm gonna talk to a few of you and ask you a little bit about, tell us who you are and what you're excited about getting out of this program, and maybe one thing that you are struggling with so that I can help a little bit. So we'll talk to a few people, and when it comes to you, I will unmute you, don't worry. And then don't worry if you don't get a turn today, because we're gonna keep doing this every single month. We're gonna keep doing this, and there's gonna be plenty of time to get to know each other. So let's start with you guys. And then, you know what, in case somebody has to pop off, let me just tell you what I want you to work on, what the assignment is for this week. Let me just tell you that real fast, and then we'll start doing some coaching. And again, this is going to be helpful to all of you because we're going to start diving in. Also, I want you to get to know each other. So it's nice if you guys can stay and like get to hear who your fellow classmates are. I think that you might meet a fellow co-writer and you might just start to feel supported. So I think it's a good idea to stick around and get to connect. Let me give you the assignment. So how many of you, raise your hand if you have, how many of you have read the book, The Artist's Way? Okay, a few of you have. Cool. So Julia Cameron was on my podcast, and I don't get any kickback from telling you to do this, but I would love for you to go onto Amazon or wherever you buy books and get yourself a copy of The Artist's Way if you don't already have it. You can even buy a used copy, whatever you want. It shouldn't cost you very much money to get a copy of that book. And I want you to start going through it because I can't stress enough how important it is for us to really start to look at what is in the way for us creatively. And what Julia Cameron talks about is the crazy makers, okay? And so in this book, she has a couple assignments, and every day she asks that you do something called morning pages. Have you guys ever done morning pages? It's really amazing. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take 3 pieces of paper, 3 pieces of paper. You can use, you can take it out of a notebook. You can use a notebook, or you can use a piece of paper like this, however you want. And you're going to take 3 pieces of paper, front and back, 3 of them. Okay. It sounds like a lot, but we all don't realize. I just heard Eckhart Tolle on an interview, and he said 97%. And this, by the way, he was quoting a scientist they're not necessarily so concerned with spirituality. They're just looking for data. Okay. So when they found this to be true, this was from a standpoint of just looking for interesting data. And he was quoting a scientist, and he said, 97% of the thoughts we think in a day are not needed. 97% of the thoughts we think in a day tend to actually be not helping us. They tend to be stressful. They tend to be negative. They tend to come from the past. And they're thoughts that we have been thinking over and over and over again, and our mind grows used to them. So Julia Cameron, the reason why the Artist Way is so beloved is mostly because of this morning pages routine. When I had Jenna Fisher on the podcast, who played Pam on The Office, she now has a new sitcom, and she said, Cathy, these morning pages changed my life. So what she wants you to do is take a pen every morning, sit down, and give yourself however many minutes it takes, and just don't stop writing. Now, you're not there to write a poem. If you wind up writing a lyric, great. That's not what she's saying. She's saying, literally, you can write, hi, it's Monday. I have nothing to say. I went to bed late last night, and I really feel like having Cheetos. Why do I want to have Cheetos? I'm not supposed to be eating Cheetos. Cheetos get all over my car. I remember the last time my daughter had Cheetos, and I couldn't stand it. Anyway, now I'm feeling really overwhelmed this morning. I'm supposed to have high energy, but I don't have high energy because I didn't go to the gym, and I said I would. And last night I was really upset because so-and-so said that thing, and I can't believe she said that, because she does it all. You get the point? You're going to do that every day. Now, here's why. When you give those thoughts a space to just get them out on the paper, she says Julia Cameron's been doing this for 30 years. You don't think those thoughts for the rest of the day, because you got them out. And when you write out those thoughts, some of them are really negative. Like, you'll be like, oh, I can't believe it. I'm such an idiot. Or, oh my God, why do I think I can be a writer? I'm not good at this. I feel such imposter syndrome. When you get it out and you read it back over and over every single day, you start noticing patterns, and we'll talk about that later. But you will not give these thoughts as much weight. And it starts to get you a little bit free of the noise in your head. Because I said to her when she was on the show, do you think that you're selling people a bag of lies? Like, can everybody become a great writer? Can everybody become a great poet or whatever their artistry is? And she said, every single person is creative. She said, have you ever walked into a nursery school room and seen a 3-year-old who's not creative? Oh my God, that smacked me between the eyes. She's like, it gets beaten out of you. It gets beaten out of every person because we start to be given so much criticism, and we stop listening to our intuition, and we forget that every one of those 3-year-olds is messy. They're covered in paint. The whole table's covered, and the messiness is the beauty of it. And we stop wanting to be messy because we don't want to get criticized. We don't want to get rejected. We don't want to fail at it. So then we create less and less and less. And when we do create, we put so much pressure on it. We cannot do that in this program. We need to surrender to being creative. And then the way to do that is to say, hey, Kath, that all sounds great. But if every time I sit down at the piano, I get this onslaught of negative, self-defeating thoughts, I have to close the piano and go somewhere else. When Lisa Loeb was on my podcast, she said she hates her guitar. She feels like it's literally like staring at her and trying to hurt her. She's like, I walk past my guitar and I hate it. It just stares at me. And the reason I hate it, she said, is because every time I pick up that guitar, I feel all of this self-doubt, like I have to write a hit. And she goes, I haven't written a hit single in so many years, and it's so frustrating. And then I don't just let myself create, so I just keep walking past it in the living room. And she just won a Grammy last year because she said it took her years after she had 2 #1 singles. She couldn't write for a long time because she had all of this pressure, and then she couldn't be creative and she couldn't be messy because if it wasn't a #1 single, what's the point? And so only recently she went back and picked up her guitar. So we need to make friends with the fear and know that it's there. Have you ever walked into a room? This is the last thing I'm going to say. Have you ever walked into a room in the dark? You're walking to your mom's house, you walk into your own apartment, you walk into a place that you've been, and it's dark, but you don't walk into the couch and stub your toe because you know the room. You know what's there. So you know how to walk around it. I have a 2-year-old, so in the middle of the night, I have to get up a lot of times and go get her a bottle or something. And I walk downstairs. And I know exactly how to walk downstairs without tripping because I know the stairs, right? So what mindfulness teaches us is that just being aware of something is 90% of the game. Just the awareness that that crap is going to come up is actually going to help you from hitting that couch and stubbing your toe. Do you hear me? So first assignment is get that book and just start writing these morning pages. Because the act of that kind of writing, where you don't have to show it to anyone, where you don't have to make something great, you don't have to hit a right hook, you don't have to write anything, that's going to start to open you up in ways that you don't even just know that you're going to discover. We're going to start talking about what to do with that. There's going to be more creative assignments as we go, but I would love to see you guys start doing that. And then I will check in with you and ask you to share in the group, like, have you been keeping that up? Have you noticed anything about, what doing that has done for you? Is it hard to do it? Do you feel resistant to it? Like, we'll just start to talk about it. That's just the tiny, 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 tiny introduction. So now, I know there's tons of questions, and there's so much we have to get into here. So much. But let's just start with talking to some of you. So where did my people go? Where did you guys go? That duo, you were on the bottom of my screen. Now I don't see you. Where are you?
If we unmute, does that come
There
up?
you are.
Okay.
Hey. So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you live, and because there's so many people on the call, we won't be able to talk for like 20 minutes because nobody would get to talk. But just tell us, like, in a couple minutes, a little bit about you, what you're excited about, and maybe one thing that comes up that you feel like is a block or in the way or a hurdle, and maybe we could talk about that for a second.
Okay.
Yeah,
You want
sounds
to
good.
talk or you want me to talk?
Okay, either way, we can both talk.
Okay.
We're from Spokane, Washington, and
We're Phil and Angela Lamb.
Yeah.
We're married.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of met. Okay, so we met online through mutual friends on Facebook several years ago, and then kind of like wooed each other by sending like SoundCloud songs to each other. We didn't think it was going to work out or anything, but we were like, oh yeah, like check out this music. And so anyway, music's always kind of been like part of our story, and we always loved like the same music. When you meet someone and you find out that you listen to the like exact same bands in high school and stuff, you're like, oh, I get that. Like we clicked on all of that stuff. So that was kind of fun. And
then we started doing music together for like past, I don't know, however long we've known each other. We've been kind of like building it up, and we've been doing music locally, all around town and kind of somewhat regionally and everything too. But mostly just kind of realized we just really wanted to get into licensing stuff. It was kind of like something that just really wanted to get into for a long time and didn't know how. So this is like the perfect opportunity to try to start that.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And a big part of that too is we have 2 little girls. You might have seen them like jumping in and out of the screen, so we like ran upstairs. But we have a almost 18-month-old daughter and a 3.5-year-old daughter, and so it's like we don't want to be on tour all the time to try to make it that way and make money. I mean, honestly, you don't really make money on tour that much, I guess, unless you're selling out all the shows. And we just can't. I didn't want to be away from the girls all the time, so we think that like licensing is a really cool way to get your music out there.
Yep. Amazing. I love it. Such a beautiful romantic story about how you met. I love that you have 2 girls. I have 3 little girls, so I wear my little.
I heard that. That's so sweet.
So anything that you're struggling with or feel like, what would be one thing that comes to mind? Like, I wish I had the answer to this question.
I don't know.
And you can pass.
Like, one of the hardest things for us has been like getting the time and like figuring out, we're trying to do everything ourselves. So that's kind of a big thing. Like I don't know, he writes most of the music part and I'll add like the melody and the lyrics, and then he's working on producing and recording, and we have like a pretty good little setup going in our basement right now for recording.
I did GarageBand forever, and then I just upgraded to Logic not way too long ago, so I'm like relearning all the big stuff with that, But.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of been a struggle, and I know like working together in the group's a big thing, which is kind of cool. It might be a big help to us.
Yeah.
And then another thing is just like with the little kids, like finding the time to really finish the song. So I think that the challenges will probably be good for that, because like it's hard to just get them recorded and get them out there. I think that's been our struggle, because we started this Mountains in the Sea as like our duo project. We started last summer-ish, and I don't know, we got out one single and then we put out a Christmas song, but we feel like we want to move so much faster, but it's just so hard to like get things done and get them out there. So
Yes.
But we both did just go full time in music, so we are.
I quit my day job.
I
just quit my day job.
Wow, that's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that we'll be talking about is ways for you to do music as an investor for your dream, and what are the other ways that you can be using your music and doing something you love, but investing in this other piece of yourself and this other aspect of music. As far as what you said, someone just said to me on my podcast this amazing sentence. She said, I guess it's an Abraham Hicks quote, which says, there's always enough money and there's always enough time. And I love it. And I think that should become our mantra. There's always enough money. There's always enough time. And I have found that in my life. There is so much of it. There's so much abundance out there. And what happens is, you know, like when Mary Poppins, by the way, I love the second movie, but I'm just referring to in both movies where she like pulls things out of that bag, like has this bag and you're like, how does this ship come out of this bag? How does this, all these things, you know, you get it. Okay, it's an umbrella, but then she pulls out like a bathtub. Like what the heck? I feel that way about my life, seriously, because every time I want to do something and I think the thought, I don't think I have the resources for it. I don't think I have the bandwidth. I don't think I can, you know, have the capacity to have 3 kids and do a podcast and do this course and have the agency and write my book and, you know, do all the speaking that I'm doing. Like, it's amazing. Like I just keep pulling stuff out of that bag. I might have mentioned this to you guys before, but Deepak Chopra, he says something so beautiful, and I want you all to think about it. And this is why I told you stick around for the Q&A, because every time someone asks me something, I will continue to relate it back to something that everybody needs, just whatever comes up to me that makes me feel like I should share. But Deepak Chopra recently was talking about abundance, and he said, when you close your eyes and you think about the ocean, it's so vast and it's so abundant. There's creatures and sea life, and water just goes on and on. I mean, we all saw Moana, right? Like, I mean, that ocean, like, it's never ending. It's so abundant. And he said, now if you close your eyes and you think of the rainforest and you think of forests themselves and the green countrysides of Ireland, and you close your eyes and you think about the forests and the dew and the moss and the ladybugs and the dragonflies and the creatures and the worms and all of the things. He's like, it's abundant. It's just nonstop abundance of whoosh. It's just like so much, you know? He said, now if you close your eyes and you think about yourself and who you really are, there's just an abundance of energy and compassion and enthusiasm and love and resourcefulness. It's just like whoosh. It's just like so much. My friend Sarah said, we are all searching to get back to who we are. And when we were each conceived, before we had a body, before we had hands and a brain, the first thing that was created was just this spark, this life force, this energy source. And so that source is completely, it's just so, all it is like, it's like a ball of absolute pure infinite energy, right? And like, then all the stuff that we have inside of us. So that's why you can see people, they have 1 child, 2 child, 3 children, they keep love, there's more love, there's just more, right? So we can expand our capacity more than we ever think. And I want you guys to notice as you go through this course, how much you argue for your limitations. You're gonna argue for your limitations. You're gonna argue for them, not me. You're gonna say, I can't, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. And I'm gonna say to you, turn that around, find it. Go find it. Say, I'll find it. And you will. Right away, within a minute, your brain will go, I can get this recorded. Shouldn't I reach out to that person who just posted that? Maybe he'll produce it for me. Wait a minute. I can find the time. And the thing is this, the more you're energized and you know that like analogy I use about Phil Jackson coming to the court, you're going to get it done, because nothing will motivate a human being to get something done than feeling that there is somewhere to put it, that like there is a possibility. If you have possibility, you can do anything. If you take possibility away, no one gets anything done. My book was like birthing a child, except that the labor wasn't 12 hours. It was like a year. It was awful. And those first 8 months, you know why it was awful? I just kept walking past the computer and I didn't open it. So of course the book wasn't getting written. It wasn't until I was down to the wire and the deadline was there and I knew I had to get it done. I was like, oh, I'm going to get it done. You know what I mean? Like once I have something to be accountable to, I will get it done. So the accountability that we are going to give you is going to help you find the time. I promise you're going to find that time, because time is never something you can find. It's something you make. You have to make the time, and you will make the time because you're going to be excited. And when you're excited, you get so much more done. So that's my little shout out to finding time. We'll talk a lot more about that. Thank you guys for introducing yourself. Let me go to Aura. I see your hand up. I'm going to unmute you.
So you don't want it?
Not right
Hello, can you
What's
hear
up,
me?
Aura? Yeah.
I'm great. How are you? Great energy coming out from there. I'm just smiling over here.
Cool.
All of these Abraham
Guys, hang on. I'm going to mute
and Eckhart Tolle.
Somebody's not muted. I'm just going to make sure you're muted if you're not talking, okay? Because otherwise we can't hear the speaker. But thank you, Aura, for saying all that. I love Eckhart Tolle also. The best.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me about you.
Okay, so I'm from Finland, but I lived in Boston for 5 years. I studied music. I was recording my EP. It's almost done, but honestly, I think what I need the most is this energy. Like, that's all. Like, to like step over those fears. And I'm so excited to like meet all of you and just, I don't know, like it's just a waking up thing for me that I really need. And yeah. What else was it that you were asking?
I don't know, but I love you already because you just made me feel like $1 million. So thank you for doing that. That never gets old to me, to feel like what I'm doing is being, received and resonating. And what I can tell you for all of you listening is what you just said. That's it. My friend said to me the other day, the universe wants it to be easy and we make it hard. And that's it.
Yeah, definitely.
We have such resistance to the whispers inside of us, to the hunches inside of us, to the thing that lights us up, because we're so afraid that it won't work or we won't know what to do. We don't trust ourselves that if we can pour ourselves into the thing we love, of course we can do well. And there's so much defeatist thought around what we deserve or what we're worth or why should I reach out? I won't. So do you know how many people, I mean, if we're really honest, how many people didn't sign up for this program because their belief in themselves was shit? Like, honestly, like if you really look at it, how many people were like, I'm going to pretend that she's garbage because I must believe that no one could help me, or I'm going to tell myself nothing's possible and therefore I can just stay in my excuses, right? But if I really believed in myself, of course, I'm not trying to land on the moon, and even that's possible. Yesterday I spoke at this event in West Hollywood for a bunch of people, and people got up and they were crying and we did some Q&A afterwards. And I just can't believe how many human beings are not offering the world what they are. It's like, you were put here to do something. Not everybody wants to be a songwriter. I just got off I did a podcast this morning with a woman who's been listening to the podcast, and she was an insurance underwriter. Do you want to stab yourself in the eye thinking about doing that for 10 years of your life? Like working in an insurance office? She did not like it. And of course she didn't like it. She grew up in Hawaii and she was living in Philadelphia and she was missing being in Hawaii and everything about her. And she had this whole story. And one day she finally was like, I am so depressed. Like, I don't want to do this. Anyway, she started a coffee company. She started making coffee because that's her thing. And in Hawaii, that's a thing. And anyway, she quit her job. She's now making double what she made. And she did it all from listening to the podcast, which was super cool. But I'm talking to her and she's like, can you believe that I almost spent my life selling insurance? Like not even selling it, like underwriting it, like sitting in the back of an office, like miserable. My only light at the end of the tunnel was Netflix at the end of every day. And she's like, and now I'm brewing this coffee and I tell people my story and I connect with all these human beings. And she's like, I don't have a job because I like it so much, And it took so much resourcefulness for her. I mean, you should hear her story, but everybody has this story, and you deserve it. You were given this for a reason. There's a reason you want to share your gifts, and the world needs you. And all you have to do is let people start knowing about it, and start making more stuff. And we're going to help you. We're going to help you because it's very hard to be an artist and you kind of feel lost at sea. And it's like, where do I even go? Who's even going to listen? All the doors are closed. What do I even do? I need feedback. I need support. So you came to the right place. You're going to get a tremendous amount of support. You're going to get a tremendous amount of accountability. Are you in Finland right now?
I'm not. I'm in San Francisco and I'm leaving to Mexico tomorrow. So I'm going there as a songwriter for a project, but I have a ton of time and I'm like so down to co-write like every day with someone. So people, let's co-write.
You have such good energy. You guys, I would be all over emailing Aura. And I love that you're from Finland. It's just so cool to get to meet people who you never meet. Awesome.
Half Filipino American, if anyone's wondering there. Why not blonde and blue eyes? Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. So cool. Chris Gustin, I'm gonna unmute you. I see your hand up. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Cool. This is exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm Chris, originally from Chicago, and I moved out to LA 10 years ago to go to Musicians Institute in Hollywood for guitar theory and then audio engineering after that. So that's like backstory, and I'm just so stoked to be part of a group that kind of keeps me accountable, because I think we can all agree it can be such a struggle to wake up every day and just like push yourself, you know what I mean? And not that there's necessarily any one person like now in this group pushing me, but it's just like, just because the group exists, I wake up knowing that I'm just like, there's something to be done, so it's super exciting.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And you're in LA, so are you coming to our event? Because you're here.
Yeah, I'll be there. I was just at the North Hollywood meetup this weekend.
Cute.
Yeah, it was so much fun to meet everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be at the event in March. Actually, it's the day after my birthday. So.
Yay! That's so cool. I love that. Great. Well, that's super cool. And I love that you're all fired up. And I agree with you that just being a part of this, finally, you just feel like, oh, there's stuff to get done, because there's a whole community of people around me who are like-minded, and the rising tide does raise all the boats. It really, really does. We were not created to be alone and isolated. This is not the way we evolved as a human species. We lived in tribes. We sat around and told stories. We did things together, and together we conquered the world and created so much. And now people live in their own little bubble. Because of the way the internet works and your smartphone and Postmates, you could go the rest of your life without leaving your house. That is shit. Like, that is not the way it's supposed to be. Like, we're supposed to connect with each other. We get energy from each other. Like, if you're looking for how to charge this phone, everybody knows the life battery on your phone at every minute. When it's at 10%, you're like, I got to get to a charger. I actually can feel my body. I'm about to pass out. Like, you literally take on the battery of your phone. Do you ever feel that? Like, when your phone's at 7%, you're not doing well. You're like, I need a charger, right? So what about our own psyche? What about setting our own psyche up to be energized? I'm only this way because I proactively do something about it. I meditate every single day. I go to therapy for the last 20 years of my life. I'm constantly surrounding myself with things that keep me on deadlines. I'm constantly pushing myself and then forcing myself to be accountable, because I promise things to people, or I tell someone else I'm going to show up, which is why in the last day of the challenge, I said, set a co-write, because there's nothing like having that accountability that will push you to get things done in a good way. So I think we have to know how to charge our own batteries.
It's called a Zoom call.
Guys, just mute yourself, because it's going to get loud in here. I'll mute you. I'll mute everybody except for Chris. Now I got to find Chris. And Chris, can you unmute yourself? But yes. We need each other. And that doesn't make us weak. That makes us smart and strong. Why is it that every single successful human being that ever lived had a team of people around them, but we don't need a team? What? Like, what the heck is that? Like, Steve Jobs had like all of these people helping him integrate his ideas, not to mention like all these people, you know, whoever you want to look at, inspire, whether it's Steven Spielberg or Serena Williams or Vera Wang, not only do they have a team of people helping them execute their ideas, but they then have a trainer. They then for sure have like the best mindfulness experts. And Jerry Seinfeld does transcendental meditation twice a day. Like, of course he does. What is he, an idiot? He's not just going to be like, I'll just show up at the open mic and just do my best. Like, no, you're going to be anticipating and training. And here's the good news. I'm promising you this. It does not take much to stand out because most people are not going to proactively show up for their life. So then if you start to do that, that's why Britney was like, what the hell? Every song is good. What's happening? Because I'm telling you, I sit where she sits and I hear tons of music, and we stopped taking submissions because it doesn't make sense. People are like, but no, you have to hear my record. I'm like, you don't understand. I can tell you, I've been doing this for 12 years, okay? And I can tell you what happens when you're part of this community. The stuff that's gonna come out of you, you're gonna blow your own mind. So I'm glad that you feel that way. I love that you're in LA because we'll get to see you. But you know, you guys, we've had people fly in from other countries for these events. So split an Airbnb with somebody and make it happen because it's gonna light your face on fire in a good way. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for introducing yourself, and your dog's really cute too.
No, thank you. She'll probably be in every one of these.
Oh, I love it. Jessica, I see your hand up. Yes, Jessica M. What's up? Hey.
Hey. So I'm Jessica. I'm from Saratoga Springs, New York, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm a little nervous you're talking.
I love that. Vulnerability. Just bring it in. Just share it. We all have so much shame around. It's like, of course you're nervous. How could you not be nervous? You don't know any of these people. You don't know me. And you're like, I have 2 minutes to explain who I am.
I'm like, okay, go.
Yeah, of course that's nerve-wracking. I get that.
So I've been involved in music most of my life. Voice, guitar, violin, piano. And I've been in cover bands for way too long. So I'm looking forward to finally having a kick in the butt to do my EP, and Think Licensing sounds awesome. I also have a 2-year-old. I commented on one of the things that you showed, the Llama Llama. So I know it by heart. So
that's awesome. Well, that's so cool. Welcome. So
Thank you.
Where are you right now? Are you in an office? Is this your house? Where are
I'm
you?
in the studio where I teach. I have a student coming in at 4.
Very cool. I love
So
it.
I was driving most of the talk. I just got here, so.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Well, you can go back and watch the replay or not, whatever works for you.
I was watching and
Got it. This is what women can do. I love it. I love it. Do you guys know who Bill Burr is? He's a comedian. How many people know him? He's the best. Check him out. Little tricks of the trade is like just having some good comedy around. We all take life way too seriously. It's like this. My friend said to me, the first cousins of seriousness are frustration and anxiety. And part of like this process is just like, let's just lose the grip. Like, it's okay. You're going to write a song. It doesn't have to be the best song. It's like, we got to get a little less serious. But the reason I brought up Bill Burr is because you were talking about multitasking. And he was talking about how like, he goes, I don't know what it is. He goes, when I'm watching a football game on Sunday, my wife, she can't stand that I can sit doing one thing for 3 hours because he's like, women are like, they can do 15 things at one time. And he goes, I think she's jealous that I can be totally satisfied doing one thing for 3 hours. And I'm like, I'm in heaven. And she's like, why aren't you getting up? Why aren't you? He's like, leave me alone. Go find your own hobby. Anyway, I thought it was a funny thing because being married to a guy and having 3 girls and noticing how long it takes him to do one thing. And I'm like, just can't you do 15 things at once? So anyways, right? You get it.
Yeah.
It's different, but that's why we need each other because I'm a spaz and he's like a grounded force. And that's why together is like the perfect unification of the soul. So welcome. That's really cool. I also have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. And I love seeing parents getting into this because I think what happens a lot of times is like you have a child and then you're like, child or self? I guess child, and now I have no self. And that is what was modeled for me growing up. My mom was like, in order for me to be a mom, I had to give up on my dreams. It's like, no, you don't have to do that. And you want to be a good model for your kid and show your kid, guess what? You can figure that out. Of course you can figure that out. Of course you can find a way to be happy and do what you love and be a parent. And I think it makes me a better mom, because when I come back from a class like this or a podcast or a session in the studio, I'm such a better person because I'm happy. And happiness is an inside job. They can't make me happy. I mean, they add a lot to my happiness, but it's up to me, you know? And my mom told me since I was 4 how miserable she was because she was so unfulfilled as an artist. And I think it's why I actually do what I do, because I saw her like dying of not being able to share her dreams. So I love seeing parents doing this stuff. It's really important work. Really important for your kids that you take care of your own dreams. Let's talk to 2 more people. So let's see. I'm kind of looking through the chat. There's a lot of people who are here that are on, like, they're not, your face is not on video, but let's give you a shot. Jeremy. Jeremy, Jay, Neville, do you hear me? Your hand's up. I don't know if he can hear me, but his hand is up. All right, well, he can't. Jeremy, you there? No? Okay. Let's go. Justin, your hand is up and I see your cat. Justin, do you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can. Hey.
What's up, Justin?
How's it going?
Tell us about yourself.
Well, this is my cat, Chester.
Yes, it is. Hi,
Yeah,
Chester.
he's beautiful. I'm from Saratoga / Clifton Park area as well.
Yay!
Yeah, that's right. I'm super excited.
All right.
I gotta say, everyone's energy in this group and everything is like, it's uplifting. I think we can all feel that, and I'm definitely excited. You're super inspiring. You are like, Cathy, you're like A1 inspirational material right now.
Thank you.
Something that I've done in the past like day of being inspired was I got myself on like a routine. So I like wake up, I have like my morning routine before I go to work, and it's like, it's really good for focus and like keeping me motivated and positive. I think that that's like part of, whoa, hold on, check this out. I think that's part of staying motivated as a whole, you know, keeping routine going to some extent.
I love
Holding
that
yourself
cat.
accountable.
Oh my God, do I love
he's
that
amazing.
cat. Oh my God. How old is Chester?
He's old now, man. He's got to be like 10, 11, I think.
Oh my God, I love him. I had 3 cats growing up, and I was 24 when my last cat passed away. And she was like a calico, a little more calico than that, but really similar. And that is such a cute cat. Oh my God. Oh, cute cat. Cute cat. Cute cat.
Yeah, Coon cat. That's what he's all about.
Thank you for saying that about the energy in this group and for being so sweet, and how cool that you guys both live in the same neighborhood, sort of. I mean, there's someone from, you know, Aura was here from Finland, now she's in San Francisco, and you guys are in upstate New York, and Chris is in LA. And I mean, you're going to start meeting people. We have people in this program who are in the UK. There's people in this program in Australia, and it's just beautiful. Like, this whole world of souls comes together, and you make lifelong friends and support each other. So I love it. Thank you so much for all those kind words.
Of course. Thank you so much. It's
Yeah.
like Earth is like the nightlife, you know, of all this beautiful energy. It's pretty cool.
That is my hope. That is my hope. Awesome. Well, it's such a pleasure to meet you guys. Let's talk to one more person. Kara Lee. I just keep going back and forth. Guys, girls, mix it up. Oh, wait, where'd you go, Kara? Hang on. Kara, can you hear me?
Yeah, you pronounced my name right. Awesome.
Yes. Oh, I actually was worried about that, but I'm glad that worked out.
No, I get so many different pronunciations. That's great.
Tell us where you are and how you are.
I'm in San Diego, California. And I am just so thrilled to have found a person. I don't even know. I need to like go back in my mind and figure out how I stumbled upon you. I know it was way like, probably on a ship, toward you, through like, listening to Tony Robbins and things like that. But yeah, I've been trying to figure out for years. It's just interesting. You just mentioned a few minutes ago about doing your dreams, and when you do that, you're a better parent to your kids. And so I've been trying to figure out why I've been angry for so many years, like had this deep-seated anger, and I was able to figure it out through some therapy. It's because I buried my dream. I buried it, and I told myself that that was something you did a while ago, and I need to move on. And when I found you, I could not believe, you talk about like, your face being lit on fire. My face was lit on fire when I found your podcast. And I was like, I cannot believe that there is a human being on this earth walking around that is this kind, this inspiring, this open about, you literally, like, I can't even believe how many, like, and this is going to sound all, mushy, but how many prayers have been answered just by so many parts of what is being fulfilled by listening to you, your podcast, this 6-figure songwriting thing. I just can't even believe it. And I feel like because of this, my actual dreams are going to come true. Like I get to just lift everything up and just go for it now. And I'm just so thankful that I found you. I can't even put it into words. I just want to write the songs and put it into words like that.
I love you so much. I can't put into words what that feels like. I can just tell you that I feel like crying when you say it, because I feel like it is, I think the thing that everybody wants is to feel seen. I think people want to feel that people get them. And that is actually why I do what I do, is to make you feel seen. And the fact that you see me means the world to me. And I talk about it a lot on the podcast. So you guys got to start listening to the podcast too. That's your other homework, okay? Because it's free and it's twice a week, and you're missing out on like amazing inspiration from there. But what I talk about this a lot, but how many of you have seen, there's a Broadway show called Dear Evan Hansen. How many people have seen it? Raise your hand if you have seen it. Oh my God. Okay. You guys have to see this show. I've seen it 3 times, not twice on Broadway and once out here. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because this show is about a kid in high school who doesn't feel great. That's it. That's it. It's not about World War II. It's not about some, epic battle and Les Miserables and the French Revolution. It's about one kid who just doesn't feel that great. He's pretty anxious. And he doesn't have a horrible story. His father didn't die. He didn't lose a limb. He doesn't have leukemia. He's just a kid who's living a normal life, whose parents are split up. And it's not that bad, but it sucks pretty bad. You know what I mean? And he doesn't feel like he matters very much. He feels pretty invisible. So I love this show so much because I believe that every single person, I don't care. You don't need to be Beyonce to matter. You don't need to be, and that's not even the goal. Like there's so much room for you to get to shine and be happy and make a difference in this world. And there's so many rungs in between here and Oprah Winfrey. Like there's such a way. Most people don't know who the hell I am. That's what I'm saying. That's great. That means there's so much space. There's so much, go back to the abundance. There's so much room. And so when you say that, Kara, that's what it makes me think of, because when I saw that play, I just cried the entire play because I'm like, everyone deserves to matter. It doesn't matter. You could just be a 15-year-old kid who has nothing sensational about you and you still matter. It doesn't matter if you are the best bass player in the world or you're, okay at like Sudoku, but you're not that great at it, or it doesn't, none of it, like every person was put here as an individual. My friend Andy, he has a podcast called Creative Pep Talk, and he said, people love diamonds because diamonds are rare, right? People love gold because it's rare. He said, whether you believe in God or science, either way, DNA, an individual's DNA is the most rare thing on the planet. There's nothing more rare than an individual, more than a diamond. It's unique. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to go to God to believe that, because science will tell you that is a unique entity that will never be here again and never was. It's completely unique. An individual is completely unique. It's not just your DNA, it's your circumstances and your story that you have to tell. And so it's amazing to me how people, again, it's supposed to be easy and we make it hard because we tell ourselves that it's not unique, that we're not unique, that there's no reason or there's no room for us or we're not good enough, so we don't even start trying. And I want you to surrender that, because I want you to get into the space where you're willing to create things that aren't perfect, because that's part of this program, is being willing to make mediocre things, because as you do that, you will be then making more things, and then the pressure is off, because then you want to write more, and then you will make more brilliant things. Ira Glass has a podcast called This American Life, and it's also a radio show on NPR, and he says there's always a gap between what you can identify as being great and what you can create as being great, right? There's always a gap. Like starting out as an artist, you could walk into the Metropolitan Museum of Art and be like, that's great art, but you might not be able to paint that yet. There's a gap. Or you can, go see an incredible dance number and you can be like, I'm a dancer and I know that's great, but I can't yet do that, but I can identify it. The same thing with songwriting. You can identify something as great, and it's frustrating because there's gonna be a gap. Like, no one is born Mozart. Like, you don't get born and like that's, and the people that are like that, which happens like 1 out of 70 million people is like weird like that, where they're just like that at 4 years old. No one's striving to do that. That's not the hero's journey anyway. The hero's journey is like just being able to push through all that, all the scenes in Rocky where he keeps getting, knocked down and he gets back up. And then of course you can close the gap. And so I love that you feel that way, and I absolutely, believe in, everything that you're feeling. It's because it's very sincere for me. And I'm hoping that what this program does is it gets you to be absolutely certain that you are that rare of an individual thing, and that because of that, something has to be shared that's inside of you that no one else can share. If you don't share it, it will never get shared. It doesn't matter if John Lennon wrote a song similar, if the Weepies wrote a song similar, it doesn't matter. It's not relevant. It's completely irrelevant, because they'll never say it the way you will say it. That's why there's enough space for all of this light. Do you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you reflecting that back. And I'm glad that we just got to talk about that, because I want to keep reminding you of my vision, because I think the job of a leader is to hold the vision and have it be so clear that everybody listening, it's like you don't even have to sell it. It just oozes out, right? And so part of my job is to just keep holding that light. And eventually it fuses with you and you're like, what happened?
It oozed out of you and connected to me. And I'm like, wow. I mean, you're seriously one in several million.
So sweet.
Gotta be. I think everybody on here would agree. I mean, it's like, we all know how the music industry goes. We all know just, people can be just so hardcore and everybody's out for themselves. And I've just never come across a human being like you in this space. And you're incredible.
You're very kind, and I love you for that, and it means the world to me, but it takes one to know one, because you cannot see light in someone else if you don't have that light. It's just the way that it is, and everybody has it, but they turn off their light, and then they're like, light. It's sort of like when you're sitting in the dark and someone turns the light on, it actually hurts. You're like, shut that light off. Yeah. So you have to have enough of that light on in yourself so you can be like, bring it on, bring it in. I get it. Other people are just like, what is, you should see me talking to my aunt who's a lawyer. And like every time I'm doing something, she's like, why are you doing that? Why are you putting that out in the world? Why don't you get a real job? And I'm like, you go do your thing and you be unhappy and I'll be over here. You know what I mean? It's just amazing how people resist that light sometimes because they've turned off their light and they refuse to let themselves dream because it hurts so bad that then they have to take responsibility for their choices. And so they're just like, go away. I don't want to even know that I have a higher self that has a dream, so it takes tremendous courage. So thank you for that.
Nice meeting you
too,
and talking with you.
You're so sweet. Greg, your hand is up, and why not? Let's talk to a few more people.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Good.
I'm in the Bay Area right now. I split my time between the Bay and SoCal, and I'm just totally jazzed to be a part of this class and to meet like-minded people, as so many people have already mentioned before. So I play piano and guitar and sing. Like my main thing is piano. But then I currently perform in a duo. Myra's give me a shout out. Thanks, Myra. I play in a duo here in the band throughout California. We're called The Compliments. The Compliments spelled with an E, not like the nice shoes compliments. And then, yeah, like we've recorded an EP, and we're kind of looking to, step our game up in terms of songwriting and writing specifically for like licensing. And so this is the perfect opportunity.
I love it. And I see that Myra's saying that you're pretty amazing. So and she's sticking by it. She wrote it once with a typo, then she wrote it. You said shut up, and she's like, no, I'm gonna write it again. And she's like, amazing. So I can't wait to hear your music. That's cool that you have been working that out, and I hope that you'll submit some of that stuff. You don't have to only write with people in this program. You can.
Right. No, I mean, I think that's something that or that I'm personally looking forward to doing, is working with people in this class for co-writing. And then also, I think I kind of included the spreadsheet in the chat. Like some of us started filling out or like creating a list of the things that we're good at and areas that we're looking for help with. So if you guys haven't had a chance to do that, like fill that out, and it'll hopefully help us collaborate better. But anyhow, yeah. I'm also looking for help with like co-writing and especially producing. So for anyone out there looking for someone good with music or the music side, and also the some also in the lyrics space, I'm happy to. I would love to meet more people who want to collaborate.
That is so awesome. I'm asking my team because I want to double down on what you just said. How many of you, I want to get your permission before I do it, but I would love to help you connect with each other. Would you guys want your information shared with people just in the class? I guess that's a hard thing to answer right away. You don't have to. What we'll do is everybody's saying yes in the chat. Okay, cool. So great. So I think what we'll do to make sure that we're being very careful with people's privacy is we'll just create like a class Google Doc. And are you saying, Greg, that you already started one that has everybody being able to add to it?
Yeah, so Matt Morrow, who I think he's also in here, like kind of started this. He put together an Excel sheet of people's locations and names. And then I asked him if I could convert it to a Google sheet so that people could just edit it.
Okay. So every one of our classes has done this, and I'm glad that it already started. That's great. We usually get the ball rolling, but I'm glad it started. Can you, Greg, put the link to that in the chat, or just when we're done with the call, just post it again? Because it is a good idea for you guys to start. Oh, okay. So there's the link to the Google Doc. I think that's really smart for you to start doing that. And one thing that I would actually recommend, and you can switch it up if you want to, I would recommend choosing a person just to keep you accountable, like as an accountability partner, because as you're going through this program, wouldn't it be cool if, even though there's going to be a tremendous amount of accountability in terms of assignments, wouldn't it be cool if you knew that every Thursday, you can make it up, Thursday morning or Sunday evening, you were going to have like either a IM chat or a Zoom call or whatever your preference, and you knew that someone was going to reach out and be like, how did the week go? And then you had to sort of answer like, I got writing done, or I did or I didn't. Like, it just might keep you guys feeling a little bit of that good social pressure, and it gives you somebody to sort of like, be a sounding board. And I wouldn't even mind seeing you guys do that in little groups, picking like 4 of you and saying, we're going to meet once a week on a Zoom call or a Skype session, because you can do that. And it doesn't cost very much to do it. In fact, if you use Zoom for 45 minutes or less, it's free. And then of course you could do Skype or whatever, or you can meet up in person if you live locally. But I think it's probably a good idea to put yourself into these smaller groups, because even if you're going to co-write with anybody, but these little groups could just be like, just to be there as a, you know, extra sense of accountability and support might be a good idea. So I think that that's really, really smart. You guys are going to, hang on, I just asked my team a question. Okay, so we need to do that. Let me tell them. So today's Monday. So I just told them they were going to give you your first assignment next Monday, but I told them we need to do that this week. So I would like to do that. I would like to have that assignment up there as of tomorrow. And then what you're going to see is you're going to see 2 searches that we've gotten in the past, okay? And you're going to choose one as your, I'm going to write this, as if it was a project and you were going to be submitting for it. And we're only going to give you 2 based on stuff that we know is going to come up again. So we're going to give you stuff that we see all the time to sort of help you anticipate. So tomorrow, you're going to see it and you might feel a little overwhelmed. And then it might be a great idea to reach out to someone on that Google Doc and say, do you want to do this with me, this project? Because it will just help you get the work done. And I want to just keep reminding you of something, which is this doesn't have to be a struggle. Okay, listen, one of the reasons that I loved writing music for the last 10 years that was directed towards licensing, one of the absolute biggest reasons is that it made writing easy. I'll tell you why. When I used to sit down and as a songwriter, I was like writing a song for my record. Before I was writing for licensing, I'd be like, what do I want to say with my life, right? It was like this big existential question. I've got 10 songs on a record. What's important? What's not important? Forget it. I don't have it today. I have to wait to be inspired. I need to go to the mountains. Like it was so intense. That all changed when I started writing songs for licensing, because I was like, oh, this doesn't have to be my magnum opus. I can just write a song for Starbucks today that just puts me in a good mood. And I can write a song called Good, Good Feeling and just like play with beats and start using a different accent if I want to. And I can be silly and I can have an alter ego and I can use just different colors and pens and markers that come out of me and just make stuff. Just make stuff. Do you hear me? Do you hear what I'm saying? So I don't want this to be a struggle. I want you to get into that headspace where you are just playing. It's just play. The best things are going to happen from that space. And what I started doing was I would get these assignments and I would I'd make my own assignments. You know, I didn't have Catch the Moon. I didn't have me. So I would just do some research. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to use that as an assignment. I'll write a song, you know, about being there for a friend. I'll write a song. And it just took the pressure off. It wasn't my full identity as an artist. It was like, I'm going to write this song. I'm going to find the way that I would say it. Do you hear me? And then I would go into the studio and I would have already listened to like 4 or 5 songs that were in this pocket, in this genre, in this vein, telling this kind of story. And it would help a lot because I'd be like, oh, that's how so-and-so gets into that. Oh, that's how American Authors gets into that song. Okay, I feel that. I hear where they're going with that. And then it would sort of help me be like, so where would I start with that? Oh, remember that time with da-da-da-da-da? Like, it just helps. And then I would even pull up lyrics to like 4 or 5 of those songs. And I would just read those lyrics and I'd be like, oh, this one starts with a question. This one starts with a story. This one starts with, today I woke up, da-da-da. And I was like, it just helps. It helps to give you a way in as an idea. Obviously, let's be clear. You're not taking the lyric, you're not taking the song, you're using it to inspire you, right? Oh, somebody's unmuted. So it's all right. We're gonna get the hang of how to mute everybody. So I want you to get in that space where you're playing. And when you play, you take the pressure off. And this will start to get really easy. Like the more I did it, the more I started being able to write a song in like 45 minutes. Because it was like, oh, and by the way, for me, this is just me and everybody's a little different. So you're going to find your own groove. I would usually start with the chorus. Like I usually start with my, you know, when you're writing a research paper in high school, you start with your thesis, like here's the point I'm making. And now I'm going to find paragraphs that support this thesis. So I usually start with a hook and I'm like, this is the point. This is where I'm going. You know, the song is going to just say like coming home, and my thesis is coming home, and now I'm going to back into that with my verses. And typically I would have a verse that would start off with the problem, you know, starting off with where the sort of, you know, darkness that sort of comes into the light in the chorus. So if you start with a chorus and then you write the first verse, now you have a B section, well, you're pretty much done, because then you're going to use the same chorus the next time the chorus comes around. Now you just need to write verse 2. And typically that B section, you could, I mean, it's probably a good idea to change the lyric, but it's not that difficult. Once you know what that B section's function is, now you can sort of just come up with another way to say that. That's that next B section. Then you have your second chorus, then you have a breakdown section. By the way, it's a really good idea when you're creating songs for licensing that breakdown section really does exist and has a life in the song. I would get really creative with a breakdown after a second chorus, because editors love having that. It's just like a moment where the vocal drops out and you're just exploring those melodies and adding layers to that and letting it go in different directions. And what happens, I'll tell you just as some inside baseball knowledge, when they're editing, very often they have a scene that has multi-dimensions in terms of where the character goes or what the story is saying. And very often they need to actually find a couple songs because they need to shift gears. But if your song shifts, if your song starts here and then there's this breakdown section and something else happens, they can use that in the editing bay and they'll go, oh, we don't need a second song, or we'll just use this song for sure because this song lets me do a couple things and the transition is super seamless. Do you hear what I'm saying? So I would definitely have fun with that breakdown section. You could do like some la-las. You could not do any vocal. You could do some scat stuff. You could just do a bunch of like layers of pads and different piano arpeggios. Just have fun with that breakdown section. Then you come back to your chorus. Some people like to do like a down chorus. You know, you do the same chorus, just kind of like really down, like in terms of like a lot of instrumentation is gone, just like a chorus. And then you go back to a full chorus and you're out, right? So it starts to get really fun and really simple. And you know, Einstein said Einstein said, simple is hard, right? Like we want to make things really complicated and we get in our own way. But what Einstein said is that if you really have mastery over something, you should be able to teach it to a 5-year-old. Okay? So when you look back at some of the best songs of all time, they are super simple. I want you to listen to the Beatles. And for every complicated Eleanor Rigby that you find, you're going to find 10 songs that are so simple. Like, I Want to Hold Your Hand, She Loves You, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. And that's because genius writers can say really simple things and people love it, right? So part of this is knowing how to tell a story in a simple way and doing it with a lot of authenticity and a lot of heart and making the instrumentation easy, and don't overcomplicate it. Because the Indigo Girls are one of my favorite bands. I've seen them in concert like 6 times and they do not get licensed. Okay, so you're gonna write those kind of songs because you should want to be Emily and Amy, because they write like the writing is gold. Those lyrics, those harmonies, it's beautiful. Every single one is like a poem. I mean, it's beautiful. But what we're trying to do is not that. And you're going to be able to do this, and then you're going to have money coming in, and you're going to be able to have value and add your value to someone else's storytelling. And then you can go write whatever other songs you want to write. And that's great. And that's part of diversifying yourself as an artist and being smart and being, you know, being humble and being a good business person, and also just being an artist, that you don't have to go be a barista or sell insurance. But I don't want you to overcomplicate it. You're going to get an assignment. You're going to choose it. You're going to have fun. You're going to play, right? So tonight, just to bring it back to some homework, because we're going to close up, I want you tonight to go research and download, whether it's on your Spotify, you want to make a playlist, or you want to go to iTunes, I want you to download 5 songs that are great for licensing. And we've talked about a few songs. I've mentioned some songs to you like Tune Yard's Water Fountain and Stolen Jars Driving and Tim Myers and Catherine Ostenberg. But start to listen to these songs tonight. And then tomorrow you're going to get an assignment. You're going to go onto that Google sheet. Maybe you'll choose a partner. You guys will meet over Skype and write something. Or you'll write it with whoever you normally write with, whether it's your wife or your bandmate or whatever, and you'll educate them to get them out of their own way. But I'm telling you, the first time you write with someone in this group versus someone you've been writing with, you're going to go, God, that was different, because they're coming off of this session, right? So they're just in a different place. And you're going to realize how many songs are in you that are just going to come out so easily. Like Diane Warren writes a song every day. So can you. Like, not every song is Because You Love Me, okay? Not every song is the Peter Cetera Glory of Love, but he writes a song every day. David Foster writes a song every day. Of course you can write a song every day. And you're going to start to write, and it's going to just be so easy. Let it be easy. Let's not overcomplicate it. Let's take the pressure off, okay? So I loved the session. Super, super fun. Do you guys know what your homework is? I hope that you were listening, but I threw a lot out at you, so I will post it in the group. I love this group so much, and normally, like you can ask normally in my class, my existing class, I'm only usually coming on doing like a 2-hour session once a month, but I think to get you guys started, and because I'm feeling I personally am feeling so drawn to this energy in this group, I'm going to try to come on double as much, at least in this first few months I'm going to be here as much as I can. But don't worry, because I'm leaving you when I'm not with you, you're in really good hands, because you're with the people who are literally pitching the music every day. I used to do that. It was like, hi, Catch the Moon. It was just me. And now my team is pitching music every day. We just got a search last week. There were 5 songs for one brand. Each one, the budget was $100,000, and I send it to them. So I'm leaving you in good hands. I'm leaving you with the people who you need to be, they got the ears to the grindstone kind of thing. And they're going to be teaching you and supporting you, and then you'll be hearing from me. But how are you guys feeling right now? You feeling high on life? Good. I love it. Thank you for being so generous. We're going to have an amazing year. And if you don't feel it already, you are in the right place. And next time I come on, we'll talk to more people. And I'm sorry that I didn't answer every question in the chat. What I'm going to try to do before I click off is I'm going to try to copy it so that I can go back and I'm going to see if I can select all and copy it so that I can go, I'm going to copy it right now and see what your questions were, because we had so much going on that I didn't get to these questions. So I'm copying it right now. And I will do my best to respond. So I'm going to copy it now. Let me just put it in an email for myself. But yeah, so oh my God, that's a long message now. Okay, just to sum up, you're going to get a copy of The Artist's Way. You're not going to be hard on yourself. You're going to find an accountability partner if you want to. I think it's a good idea, maybe a group of 3, 4, whatever you want it to be. You are going to look at your assignment tomorrow and choose something, maybe reach out to someone and start writing. What else are you going to do? You're going to maybe from The Artist's Way start doing some morning pages, and you are going to know that you're enough right now. You don't have to already have 15 songs, and you're going to know that as we go through this process, there's a learning curve, but it's going to start to make sense, and there's no obligation to turn in every assignment and all that stuff. But thank you guys for being here today and giving me so much. You were so generous. I feel it. I'm glad you're feeling it. And what a great way to start the year. Look for your assignments. Make sure you check that Facebook group every day, because there's a lot of fun stuff being posted. And I hope to see you guys in person in a month, a little more than a month. But until then, I'll be seeing you soon for our next session. And I think Sonnet will be with you on Wednesday to go over the next thing. And please continue to watch replays if you can't show up here live. But lots of love for you. And we're going to have an amazing year. So I'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Bye, guys.